Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to the Serial Hobbyist YouTube channel. My name is Jordan. If it's your first time here, thanks for joining me. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back once again. I am a backgammon enthusiast and I love collecting backgammon boards and growing my collection almost as much as I like playing the game. Tonight's video was going to be a live stream, but I decided instead to collect questions from my viewers and from the Facebook backgammon groups to answer your questions about what board should I get? How do I choose a board? What are my personal favorite boards? What things do I look for when I'm choosing a backgammon board? All of those questions. I'm just going to have this kind of casual off-the-cuff video right here. I wrote down a lot of the questions that you all left, and if there's something that I didn't get to, or I don't get to, excuse me, in this video today, you can leave those questions for the next video down in the comments of this one. So without any further ado, let's jump into a few of these questions, and I'm going to try and order them so that I save my favorite questions for the very end. So stick around to the end to hear, for example, what my favorite board in my collection is. That'll be right at the end. First one, do I have a preference between a baffle box and cups? You know, I own a foldable Backgammon Galaxy baffle box or dice tower. I like it. I do not use it very much. I feel like I buy these beautiful boards and the cups have matching leather to the board. They're works of art in themselves, and so I enjoy using the cups, but me and my wife have made a goal to start trying to be better players, to get ready for a tournament. So we're going to buy a clock, we're going to buy a baffle box, and so I'll probably start using that more, but for now my preference is cups. Someone asked what my preferred size and color of dice are. Well, color is easy. I like the dice to match the board. I really don't care beyond that. Size-wise, I don't have a particular size. I would say I use 14 millimeter dice the most. What's more important to me is that they're proportionate to the board. So if it's a tournament size board, 14 or 16 millimeter checkers are great. If it's a travel size board, I actually like tinier checkers, a 12 or a 10 even. In my FM Gammon travel board, I have tiny little 10 millimeter checkers that are great. They're kind of tough to see, but they feel really good and they don't knock checkers around. Someone asked me, why don't manufacturers include precision dice even with these more expensive boards? I don't have the answer for that. I know I was talking to someone in Turkey once, and they said there was a export restriction or some law about precision dice. It must be like a gambling thing. That's why that particular maker didn't include them. But I feel like more board makers should, and the extra 20 bucks in price would be worth it for most of us. Someone asked what board was in the picture of the post on my YouTube video. That is a Bacco, one of their luxury boards. It's the smaller, I think, or the medium size. There'll be a review coming on that shortly. Watch out for it. What are the three most important factors for me when choosing a board? I love checker fit. I want to have a nice even fit across the board, 6 points. I don't want much wiggle room, more than a millimeter or two. The checker feel, the weight of the checker is also very important to me and how it slides across the playfield. So the interaction, I would say, between the checker and the playfield. And lastly, the materials of the board. So does it look good? Does it feel good? Is the color scheme great? Those are what I care about the most. What's my ideal backgammon board size? I think that depends on the application. If I just have an all-around board, I'm going to want tournament. It's so much fun playing on a tournament board. 45 millimeter, 44 checkers are my favorite. I don't need the big 50, although I do have one XXL board. Portable is great for the right situation, but if I had the choice, tournament. What's my favorite surface type? You know, I think I have the most of the synthetic or like the felt type surfaces. I do have some leather and I have a cork as well from Chrysloid. I think for overall play, the felt wins. It's just easy to slide checkers on. The printing is beautiful. It feels nice on the hand. I would say that for the most resilient and all around, I guess, best for every scenario, probably the cork. The cork feels like it's going to hold up the most over time. Checkers slide nice on it. Dice roll well on it. Leather is beautiful, but you've got to have the right checkers or they're going to get caught up on the points and on the playfield. Going off of that, what is my favorite point type? Like, do I like leather inlaid into the board? Do I like screen printed? Do I like applied? If the applied is done right, like with the Chrysloid, and there's not really any raised surface, that's fine. But the screen printed is going to be by far the best, I think. There's no lip at all. Checkers glide easily, and the colors are rich and vibrant. What is my favorite portable board? That's a tough question, but I have to say my Gammon, Gammn board that I got, they had their Kickstarter a while back with the plastic exterior that's almost like a pelican case, the gasket around the edge. Blunderblots just released a video of that recently. I think that's the best travel board. I abuse that thing. I throw it on dirt, on grass, in the back of the car. It's squished and stacked under things, and it just holds up. It's a great little board. The checkers are beautiful. The dice, everything's color matched. unmatched, and it's very affordable. So the Gammon, the Gammon board, that's my favorite. Someone asked what my ordering experience had been with manufacturers in Turkey. I think that varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. For example, FM Gammon, they've got a built-in website. They're very well known. You click order, you put it in your cart, it comes to you really quickly. They're fairly straightforward. Art Gammon, where you're doing a more custom board ordering experience, is tougher. There's a time difference, there's a language barrier, and what you want may not align with what he thinks he's capable of or what he can produce. Honestly, there's a little bit of friction there. However, once I got my Art Gammon board in hand, it exceeded all my expectations, and the craftsmanship is second to none. So if you're willing to deal with a little more of a barrier when dealing with these boutique manufacturers, it's worth it in the end. Someone asked what I think the best value in a board is. I'm going to say either the Wycliffe brothers, just because their quality control is unmatched. There's just no errors in their manufacturing, or the Chrysloid, because you get a ton of board and a really handmade board for a very reasonable price. Someone asked if I prefer weighted checkers. Absolutely. The heavier the checker, the better, in my opinion. I mean, I'm young and spry and don't have arthritis or anything, but I want the feeling of a heavy checker. Flat or finger disc checkers, that's tough, but I'm going to have to say finger dished. Favorite doubling cube. I just got one of the Backgammon premium boards with the metal edges on their doubling cube. Oh, it's beautiful, and that sucker is heavy. Besides that, the Wycliffe massive cube is pretty neat as well. Favorite dice cup? They all, as long as they match the board, I don't care. I do like a cylindrical dice cup, a skinny, tall dice cup over a fat and chunky one, or over a oval cup. However, the exception to that would be the leather cups from Chrysloid, which I smell every time I pull them out of the board because they're so amazing. And last but not least, what is my favorite board? If I could choose only one in my collection to keep, what would it be? I'm going to have to say the Chrysloid. I have been talking about this with some people lately. The feel when you play on the Chrysloid is unlike anything else. It feels like it was made by an artist, and you can sense the human touch on that board. The finishing is perfect. The leather, like I said, on the cups is just rich, and you open it and there's a smell. The dice and the checkers slide so smoothly on the cork surface, and when I pull it out, it's like, this is like some American heritage there. So I really, really love my Chrysloid, but on any day, that may change. I can reach for any board in any scenario. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick Q&A session. If you have more things that you want to know, please include those down in the comments. If you're not a subscriber, like the video, ring the notification bell, leave a comment. All of that helps the algorithm, helps me keep bringing you content, and I'd love to have you around for the reviews that are coming in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.